Hello everyone, welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, and today I'm going to be talking about why Donald Trump's guilty verdict backfired on the Democrats as of right now, and why Donald Trump still has a healthy lead in my latest forecast. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment down below. And so, what I'm actually going to be doing from now on is I'm going to be using the DDHQ aggregate for the individual states as well as the national aggregate, including the favorability ratings, as well as they tend to be, a little bit more, proactive when it comes to updating their aggregates. RCP generally is not really that great about implementing new polling into their aggregates. And so I feel like, DDHQ is doing a better job of that. And I am going to be using them for my data in my election model as of right now. And so we see Donald Trump has a 1.6 percentage point lead with third party candidates included as of right now. We can also see Donald Trump's approval rating has dropped from 44 all the way down to 37%. This is probably due to the snap polls that came out of the guilty verdict. However, I do expect this to go back up. His approval rating, back in 2023 went down to 35%. Even at one point, according to the aggregate, he was actually at 48% favorability. So you would have seen an electoral college landslide that election if that would have happened. Now, Biden's approval rating is also not that great either. It's still at 41%, but that does change the model quite significantly. You're going to see Donald Trump is going to be ahead by 1.6%, 6.10 points, 6.1 percent to the right of what the country voted in 2020, which was plus 4.5 Democrat. On the national level, we see Biden is down minus 15.6 percentage points, and we can see that Biden is theoretically ahead in favorability by 4.3% according to the DDHQ, which shifts the election 0.2 percentage points to the right. However, what I have done is I've actually reweighed what actually gets factored in. The polling aggregate is the item with the most weight, including the demographic poll. The 2016 result has the least amount of influence, and the 2020 result has the second most amount of influence when it comes to weighing out the initial, place of the state as a whole. And so that gives us new data to essentially work with. And I have also done it to this model as well, where you're essentially looking at you're basically looking at, if we go over here, the demographics are being weighted more than the actual shift without demographics. And so when we do that, it basically gives us an updated projection in every single state as of right now, and we're going to be filling in the map. The popular vote is now plus 5.5 for Trump, which honestly makes a lot more sense to me. I thought, 7 point victories were way too high. So I think that the DDHQ data is going to be significantly more accurate than the RCP data would have been. And so we're going to be filling out all of these states on the map, starting out with the safe Republican states. We have Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, as well as Nebraska's third congressional district, the first district, and the at-large district, as well as Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, as well as South Carolina. Alaska, we can see is in this column. It is a 17.6 percentage point victory as of right now. We'll also see that Maine's second congressional district is also in this margin, with it being a 17-point victory for Donald Trump, which is 10 points higher than the victory at what it was in the last election, which does shift the state significantly to the left, or to the right, excuse me, as of right now. So these are the initial safe Republican states, but we're actually going to be adding more Republican states to the safe column. We're going to be adding Iowa and Ohio into this column. We see Iowa 16.7 percentage point victory for Donald Trump, Ohio 17.2 percentage point victory. We see a massive shift in these states from the 2020 presidential election. Ohio gets around 11 points more Republican. Iowa is around, 10 points more Republican, or maybe I think it's like 8 or 9 points more Republican. But we do see really large shifts in both of these states as of right now. In the state of Texas, we're actually going to be seeing a 15.2 percentage point victory in the state of Texas. So it is barely in the safe Republican column as of right now. The same thing goes for Florida. We see Florida is an exact 15-point victory according to my forecast as of right now, which already gives Donald Trump 219 safe electoral college votes as of right now. Going into the election, we can see California is a 17-point victory on the map as of right now. If you go to Hawaii, it is actually classified as a likely state, so we're not going to even fill that out yet. Means first congressional district is safe alongside Vermont, Massachusetts, Maryland, and DC. These are the only safe Democrat states on the map as of right now, giving Joe Biden only 82 electoral college votes as of right now. And so for the likely Democrat states, we're going to be looking at Washington, which was a safe state back in 2020. We see right here, it was a 19.2 percentage point victory for the incumbent president. And right now, my forecast only has it as a 9.5 point victory. So that would be a huge shift away from Biden in this projection. We also see a state like Oregon is a 7.2 percentage point victory, which is a 9 point shift to the right from the 2020 election cycle. And we see a state like Hawaii be a 13.9 percentage point victory, which would be extremely far to the right compared to its 29.5 percentage point victory for Biden in the 2020 election. However, this state has trended super hard to the right the past couple of cycles. And so that is why the state is shifting so much. Even if the popular vote was D plus 4.5, you would probably still see Hawaii vote for the Democrat by only 22, 23 points as of right now. That is how much the state's actually trending, to the right as of right now. And so as we keep going, we're going to be seeing that states like, Illinois are in the likely Democrat column by only 5.9 percentage points for Biden. This would be a huge shift away from the incumbent president. We do see that Biden has been regressing with African American, Hispanic, and young voters, which are influencing all of these margins. We will also see in the states of New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, Rhode Island, and in New York, he is suffering, hemorrhaging of a bunch of support in these states as of right now. He is only winning New York by 11.5 in my latest projection, New Jersey by 5. He's winning Rhode Island by 10.8%, and he's winning Connecticut by 11.2 and Delaware by 8.2. And just for context, Donald Trump lost the state of New York in 2020 by 23.1 percentage points. And now he's on track to only lose it by 11.5. That's almost a 12-point shift in favor of Donald Trump in the state of New York, which would be absolutely huge as of right now. That would be a humongous shift in the state of New York as of this projection. And so, as we keep looking into these results, we see Donald Trump is enjoying a pretty easy election victory as the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada all fall into the likely Republican column, including Nebraska's second congressional district. We see that Wisconsin is an 8.3 percentage point victory, Pennsylvania adds 8.0. We see Nevada at 9.4 for Donald Trump. North Carolina at 10.9. We see Michigan at 6.6% for Trump. And we see Georgia at plus 9 and Arizona at plus 7.3, with Michigan being the closest state of all of these states as of right now, besides the second congressional district in Nebraska. We see in Wisconsin, what's very interesting, Biden won it by a tilt margin. And what's quite interesting is that Biden was ahead in the aggregate by around, 8.7 percentage points, which this map here shows all of the polling errors according to 538. This is a 7.7 percentage point polling error in favor of the Democrats. So it underestimated Trump by 7.7 percentage points. And so if you were to apply that to the current aggregate, which is about plus 1.2 for Trump in Wisconsin, according to 538, the state would be around a 9 point victory. And right now, my forecast has it as an 8.3 percentage point victory. If you were to apply the polling error to Pennsylvania, you'd have a plus 6 percentage point victory in the state as of right now. My model has it at plus 8. In North Carolina, we see that he's leading by 6 percentage points according to 538. The polling error was a little bit over 3 points, so he'd be winning it by around 9.5. He's currently winning it by 10.9 in my projection. Nevada, we see a similar story where the aggregate is basically in line with what would be happening here. We see the exact same thing in Michigan right now. If you were to adjust for a polling error from 2020, it would be a little bit of above 5 points. It would be like a 5 point, 7 percentage point victory here. I have it at 6.6. We can see in Georgia, 9 point victory in the state, Arizona, 7.3, as of right now. So clearly there is a huge shift for Donald Trump this election cycle, and he is going to very easily win according to the latest data as of right now. And so for the lean Republican states, the only one on here is actually going to be the state of Minnesota. We actually see that Donald Trump is making huge gains, across the country, and he's actually winning Minnesota by 1.7 percentage points as of this projection. And what's quite interesting is that the aggregate in Minnesota actually has it as plus 0.3% for Biden, according to DDHQ. And the polling error there was around 1.8%, 2.1% in favor of the Democrats. And so if you were to apply that error, you would get a margin very similar to what my forecast is actually projecting in Minnesota. For the lean Democrat states, we have Colorado, which this state has been trending left off a cliff. We see it's a 4.7 percentage point victory, so very similar to the 2016 margin, funny enough. And we actually see Maine at large still be a lean margin for Trump or for Biden. He's actually winning it by 1.5 percentage points as of right now. These states still go lean Democrat. In this hypothetical scenario, we see a state like Colorado, Maine at large. These states do have a decent amount of white voters, especially white suburban voters. And that demographic, I think, is going to stagnate for Republicans. And I think that Democrats will trend that demographic to the left, and so you are going to see those voters kind of stick with Biden. That's why Colorado and Maine at large are still lean in my latest forecast. And for the tilt Republican states on the map, we have New Mexico, Virginia, and New Hampshire. As of right now, we can see the margins in Virginia are 0.1%. We see New Mexico 0.2 percentage points for Donald Trump, and in New Hampshire, it's 0.5 for Donald Trump as of right now. And so that is huge news out of these three states. If these three states were to flip to Donald Trump, it would give him a massive electoral college victory of 345 electoral college votes to Joe Biden's 193 as of right now. I've basically kind of adjusted the model, for the DDHQ data, as well as basically weighing in the polling aggregate and demographics a little bit more favorably to the model itself, to kind of account those for more than the previous election results, giving them a little bit more weight. And we actually see that a lot of the margins are starting to make a lot more sense in some of these states, and even in some of the safe Republican states, some of the margins are beginning to make a little bit more sense as of right now. A lot of them are within reasonable polling errors from the last two cycles, as of right now, when being applied to the latest data. And so Donald Trump, according to my latest projection, is winning 345 electoral college votes to Joe Biden's 193 electoral college votes as of right now. And so make sure to go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to go ahead and drop a comment down below, as well as follow the Twitter and join the Discord server in the description down below. And I will see you guys very, very soon.